Hi everyone, this is JS from Goblin Games, and today we're going to learn how to play Marvel Champions. Marvel Champions is a cooperative card game for 1 to 4 players. It was published by Fantasy Flight Games at the end of 2019. So let's check how to set up the game. Setting up a game of Marvel Champion is relatively easy and quick. So if you're alone, you can look at the Learn to Play book, and starting on page 4, you've got all the setup steps from 1 to 14 to follow. So we're just going to follow these steps today. The first step when playing Marvel Champions, it's a superhero game, so you're going to be selecting your hero. In the core set, you've got 5 heroes to choose from: Spider-Man, Iron Man, She-Hulk, Black Panther, and Captain Marvel. Each of these heroes have different abilities, obviously, and different cards that you can use. Today I'm going to be playing solo. I'm going to be choosing Spider-Man as my hero, so we're just going to remove the other ones. When you start the game, you won't be in your superhero form, so you flip the card. You're going to be, where I'm going to be starting as Peter Parker, and this is my player card. Step 2, we're going to set up our hit points. At the bottom of my hero card, I can see here that hit points 10. I'm going to use my little dial here and set up my hit points to 10. This is for Peter Parker. Step 3, choosing who's the first player. That's quite obvious as I'm playing by myself. If you're playing 2, 3, or 4 players, you can agree who's going to start for the first round. Step 4, set obligation aside. This is the wrong deck. Every superhero will have one obligation. For Spider-Man, we've got an eviction notice. So poor Peter Parker has some problem paying his apartment. This card is going to be set aside for now. Step 5, we're going to set nemesis aside. Same thing, each superhero has a nemesis, their worst enemy. For Spider-Man, we've got Vulture. There are 5 cards, and these 5 nemesis cards will also be set aside for now. Step 6, we're going to shuffle the player deck. Today I'm not going to be looking at deck building. I'm just following the suggested player deck for Spider-Man. So there's already 40 cards that were listed in the Learn to Play book, and I've been putting all these cards together, and we're just gonna shuffle them right now. Player cards are the cards that have the blue back, while you're gonna see later encounter cards, which are normally the bad cards, have the orange back. Step 7, we're gonna put all the tokens and little cards ready to be used. So we've got some status cards such as Stunned, Tough, and Confused. So I'm going to put them here, and then we've got a bunch of tokens, and you can separate them in nice little piles, and stack them nicely, but I'm just going to put all of them here ready to be used. That completes the player setup, and now we're going to go into the villain setup. And as we play Marvel Champions, we're going to have to decide which enemy we're going to be facing, and the core set comes with 3 villains. We've got Rhino, Claw, and Ultron, which are more or less like easy difficulty, like medium and hard. So let's face Rhino first. Step 9, we're going to set the villain hit point. So same as the hero, villains have also hit point, and it's written right here at the bottom of the card that Rhino has 14 hit points per player. I'm playing solo, so he's going to start with 14 hit points. If we were playing 2 players, obviously it's going to be 28 and so on. And maybe I'll just put like the hit point counter just right here. Now we're gonna set up the villain cards. So every villain has a scheme. So what are they trying to do? What's their evil plan? For Rhino, it's called the break-in, and you've got a very, very short story that says Rhino is attacking a shield facility. And this is side 1A of the main scheme, and this tells you that which cards we're going to use for the villain encounter deck. We're going to be using Rhino 1 and Rhino 2. So here we've got Rhino 1, you've got this number in the top right corner, and Rhino 2. Basically, we're going to have to defeat Rhino 1, then he becomes even angrier, more powerful, and we'll have to beat Rhino 2 before we win the game. If you wanted to play expert, here it says that you would have to put Rhino 2 and Rhino 3 instead of Rhino 1 and Rhino 2, but we're not there yet. Now we're going to put all the Rhino cards. So you're going to have about 21 cards. This is written Rhino at the bottom. Rhino cards 14 out of 21, and so on. So all the cards that have uncounted cards that have Rhino at the bottom, we need to be using them. Then we say all the standard encounter set. Same thing. At the bottom, we've got the name of the encounter set, which is standard, made out of 7 cards. So we're going to put these 7 cards. And finally, one modular encounter set, and they recommend Bomb Scare. So we're going to use the recommendation Bomb Scare. It's an encounter set made out of 6 cards. I'll also explain in another video how you can customize the villain deck to make it more difficult, or give it a bit more replayability. And now set up advance to stage 1B. So we flip this card, so now the main scheme is in play. We've created the encounter deck. One thing that is missing is the obligation of Spider-Man. So all the obligation of all the heroes who are participating in this mission or fight are going to be shuffled into the encounter deck. All right. And I'm shuffling all these cards together. So the Rhino cards, the standard cards, the Bomb Scare cards, and the obligation of Spider-Man. We're almost done. So now we're going to be drawing our hand size. Peter Parker starts with hand size of 6. That's different for every hero. So I'm going to be drawing 6 player cards. So I'm not going to explain the cards now, but what I can do, step 13, is I can do a mulligan. So there are one or multiple cards that I don't like in my initial hand. I can discard them and draw an equal amount of card. So I'm just going to, super quick, I'm going to say, like, I don't like these 2 cards. I discard them, and then I'll draw an exact amount. So I'm back up to 6 cards. The last step of the setup is to resolve setup abilities of heroes. A few heroes like Black Panther have a special ability listed that will say, like, after setup is complete, search for 1 upgrade in your player deck. But for Peter Parker, there's no setup ability. That's pretty much it. We're ready to play. As you saw, like, it would probably just take 5 minutes if I wasn't talking. All right. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any question, just post a comment below the video, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.